Hello and welcome back to this episode of CJ Discusses. Today we're going to discuss Below Deck Sailing Yacht, Season 5, Episode 5. So the episode starts back off right where we left off last week, back at the club where Emma had kind of gotten into it with Diana and Danny. And now she's back sitting with them and telling them that she's basically done with them and she doesn't want to get involved in any more of their drama. After that, the crew goes back to the boat to hang out, and Danny's flirting with Keith again, but Keith doesn't really seem to be that into it. I don't know if he's just stringing her along a little bit or just trying to figure out what the end game is with Danny. But nothing really happens with that, and they all end up going back to bed. As they wake up the next morning, they're starting to get the boat ready for the next charter, and we find out from Glenn at the preference sheet meeting that this is just going to be basically a 24-hour charter. We have a Real Housewife from Dallas that's going to be coming on board, and she's not really asking for a lot. She's just asking for a photographer to go take pictures of her and her friends at sunset on the beach, and then to come back and have a Japanese-inspired dinner. So it's pretty low maintenance. It should be a relatively easy feat for everybody, but we'll see how it goes. You never know with these one-day charters. Then we see Gary trying to give Emma some tasks in order to get the boat flipped and ready for all the guests, and Emma just doesn't seem to be taking it in. She just seems to kind of be on her own page and doing whatever she wants to do, which has really been the issue that Gary's been having with her, is she just doesn't seem to be getting the gist of the job. The guests come on board. They seem like very nice people, and Daisy gives them a tour of the boat, to which they reveal that they are into orgies, so this could get very interesting very quickly, but unfortunately none of that happens during this boat, or during this trip. They take off from the port, and Glenn gets it into sailing mode as quickly as possible. Nothing too exciting happens while they're in sailing mode, but we do find out that Emma may not have as much experience on sailing yachts or sailboats, period, as she may have alluded to in her CV. She seems to be really struggling. Glenn's just trying to, basically do the normal sailing stuff, trying to tack into the wind, get things going. He's got her working one of the sails, and she can't even get it tightened up. She's having a really hard time. Gary has to come over and show her how to use her body weight in order to get the sail into the correct position. And she just seems really distraught at this point. And she feels like Gary is picking on her, but really she's just not picking up the job. And this is really going to start showing, I think, in the next few episodes as we move along. From there, everything's going well. The guests go ashore for their pre-dinner photos, and they come back and they said that they're immediately ready to eat. So fortunately, Cloyce is ready for this, because this is about an hour earlier than what he had anticipated, but dinner's ready to go. And he says that he took a world culinary course when he was a sophomore in high school. So that's about the gist of his Japanese experience. This is either going to go one of two ways, right? Either it's going to go really well or he's going to bomb gloriously. But Cloyce has really got some cooking skills, because he really pulls this off and everybody is happy about it. We then move into after dinner cocktails, and one of the guests has requested from Diana an espresso martini. Now Diana, if you remember from the last episode, didn't want to partake in any of the practice sessions with the cocktails, so she doesn't make it exactly right. While she gets the liquid portion of it right, she doesn't put 3 espresso beans on top of it, which is what it calls for. She only puts 2. So the guest actually calls her out on this, and she gets really offended by it. He drinks his martini and asks Danny to go ahead and make him a new one, which she does, and she puts the 3 beans. So he is ecstatic at this point, and he makes a big deal of telling her that she did it right, and it was the best espresso martini that he's ever had. And Diana and Danny are both standing right there, and Diana is just getting really agitated with Danny at this point, because Danny seems to be getting all the accolades while she just keeps getting kind of pushed to the corner. But she's kind of allowing herself to do that, right? Danny keeps saying that she's going to do service, and she's kind of dictating what she's going to do, and Diana gets stuck doing all the shit jobs that Danny doesn't want to do. So she needs to start asserting herself, and also being a bit of a team player and learning how to make these cocktails. From there, everything is fine. There's no drama for the rest of the evening. Emma's on the night shift, so she's up in the pilot house all by herself, and she says that she's on for 7 hours. She has a task, a sheet of tasks that she needs to get completed, and she doesn't get any of them done. She actually falls asleep, and she wakes up about 6 o'clock and realizes that she needs to get all of this done. So she goes out there and starts trying to get all the stains and stuff off the teak. And when Keith comes up at 7 to do a duty changeover, she says that she has completed everything. So he's expecting a nice dry boat and ready for guests. But what he finds is a soaking wet boat that is not ready for guests, and guests are actually starting to get up. So he's now trying to mop up all this excess water and get everything squared away so that when the guests get to that part of the boat, it's not looking like, we just had a hurricane come through. And he mentions this to Gary. So Gary's getting really agitated with Emma at this point. Guests depart the ship. They're really happy, and they give Glenn the tip. When Glenn does the tip meeting, he reveals that the tip for a one-day charter is $25,000. So they are very happy with the service, and I would love to make a $25,000 tip for working 24 hours. So they did really well on that one. From there, the crew, they clean up what they need to, and then they get ready for a crew night out. They all go out to dinner. As soon as they sit down, Emma starts acting weird. She's saying she's really hot. She needs to go outside. She needs a glass of water. She's just acting really weird. Daisy goes outside with her and tries to talk to her. And basically what it looks like to me is that she's kind of having a little bit of a panic attack because she knows that she's not doing well. And everybody sees it, and it's going to start coming to surface, and it's kind of going to blow up in her face. So she tells Daisy that she just wants to go back to the ship, which she does. So now she's separating herself from the rest of the crew. I really don't think she's going to make it the rest of the year. I'll be surprised if she makes it another 2 episodes, to be perfectly honest with you at this point. Then we see Danny and Keith trying to talk about their relationship. Keith is he says when he's working, he's all business. He doesn't want to, be flirting in front of the guests or be unprofessional. And that's refreshing to see because we don't see that all the time on these shows. Danny, on the other hand, wants to flirt with him whenever she wants and touch him whenever she wants. If it's in front of guests, and it's in front of guests. So I don't really think that this relationship is going to work out. And Keith is really trying to struggle to decide what he wants out of all this. While he's trying to figure it out, though, we see Danny inside with Gary, and they are dancing on the dance floor. They're spanking each other, and they're having a good time. Everybody goes back to the boat. Most people go back to bed, but Danny and Gary want to go have some more fun, so they go into the hot tub together. Then they see some people jumping off the pier, and they decide that they want to jump into the water as well, which they do, and then they start kissing. So that's how the episode ends. So now there's going to be some drama as we go forward. Because clearly, Gary's showing Danny the attention that she wants and feels that she needs. And Keith is not willing to give that to her. So I think that relationship is done. But it's really going to blow up when Keith finds out that Gary has moved in on the girl that he's been, trying to figure out what he wants to do with. So we'll see how that goes. And then we'll see how Emma kind of digs herself out of the hole that she's in. Because she's starting to get into a really deep one at this point. So check it out next week.